وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: وما الحياة الدنيا إلا لعب ولهو وما الحياة الدنيا إلا لعب ولهو وللدار الآخرة خير للذين يتقون أفلا تعقلون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah inshallah accept all of our a'mal and efforts in the month of Muharram in the last few nights and made them to be inshallah sincere and accepted and maqbool with the salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So inshallah, to wrap up our conversation and our discussion on the topic of tranquility of heart, serenity of iman, we came to the second factor that how we can achieve uh, sakina in life. And we talked about the importance of being kareem, the importance of generosity and importance of giving hand. We have so many tradition on this matter that people who are ahle infaq, they are people who are considering other people a responsibility, the well-being of other human beings a responsibility. This is a sign of a mu'min, right? So if when we talk about taqwa is the same concept. When we talk about piety and God consciousness, for example, in Surah Al Imran we say, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. So the ultimate reward of God is heaven, and that is prepared for muttaqin. If you have taqwa, if you're God conscious, heaven is for you. And then in the continuation, we said, who are these muttaqin? Then Allah give us a list. الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. The first description of muttaqin in this ayah from Surah Al Imran is that those who give, they are charitable in time of ease and at the time of difficulty. Is if they are rich or poor, if they are, everything is going well in their life or they're facing problem and trouble in life, they are doing infaq, regardless. And then وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, those who swallow their anger, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, those who are forgiving. And if somebody have taqwa, with taqwa comes peace of heart. If somebody is pious and God conscious, it's impossible for them to not experience serenity. But remember that the second factor, one say is about balance, is about i'tidal. The second one is about generosity. Because if someone is generous, they are putting themselves in a place of thinking more than just themselves. Those who are just obsessed with the self, they are anxious all the time. Those that their entire problem is that what they should eat and what should I wear and what kind of car I have to drive, all is about self. There is no charity, there is no selflessness, there is no altruism. These people usually not experience a high level of joy and serenity and peace. So if you have taqwa, inshallah, with the taqwa come the generosity, and with that come, inshallah, peace of heart. And we have a tradition that a man came to our sixth Imam and said, Yabna Rasulullah, I used to be very rich. Whatever kind of business I started was very successful. But recently, whatever I do, for some reason, I'm facing trouble. Whatever I try, whatever I start, there's some kind of hardship, some kind of uh, loss that I have to experience and deal with. What should I do? And this person was from Kufa, and Imam Sadiq was in Medina. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam told him, when you return to your city, invite 10 mu'min, 10 of the mu'mineen in your community, and make him a simple meal. Not a lavish, wasteful kind of gathering and party, but just a simple mehmani with one simple meal. And at the end of that, ask those 10 people to pray for you. He said, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I do not have enough money to, invite 10 people. I'm just telling you I have some issues, and you're telling me to have a gathering. And Imam alayhi salam said, look what you have in your house that you can sell and make that gathering an invitation. If you want barakah, that's the way to do it. Give, because Allah loves the giving hand, and you will receive, as Quran promised, right? He will do mudha'af, yudha'if. Yudha'if means He will multiply what you give. Whatever you do is in return, Allah will multiply that. And as we said in Quran, يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. When you do something for the sake of Allah at the time of difficulty, the value of that is much greater. So it's something to keep in mind about the importance of generosity. And we teach that to our children, as well as keeping in mind that when we are generous, there's going to be moments of test, because generosity is not simple. Let me tell you, the importance of generosity is so much. Allama Tabarsi in Tafsir Majma' al-Bayan, which is a well-known tafsir by Allama Tabarsi, he said under the ayah regarding Samiri, Samiri was the man who deceived Bani Israel to worship the golden calf. They start worshiping after Musa alayhi salam went to the Mount Sinai. After he came back, the 30 nights became 40. After he returned, he saw that people, Bani Israel, thousands and thousands of them are worshiping the golden calf. So after talking to Harun alayhi salam, and eventually he would, it is not in Quran, but we have in the tafsir that mentioned that Musa alayhi salam prepared to punish him. That he has to be punished. This person who caused the deviance and caused inhiraf has to be punished. And we have that Musa alayhi salam was addressed by God, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Musa, take it a bit easier on him. So God, there's a general situation, somebody has to be punished for a sin, for example. Allah said his punishment will be lighter. And Allah said to Musa, because he was a generous person, because of his generosity, we, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I know what he did, but his punishment will be lighter. Even in the story of our Prophet, when the daughter of Hatam al-Ta'i, Hatam al-Ta'i was a well-known mushrik, well-known pagan who was very generous. He was known among Arab for generosity, but he wasn't Muslim. He died a mushrik. When his daughter was captured in one of the battles, Rasulullah said, free her. And they said, why? Why specifically her? And Rasulullah said, because Allah loves generous people, and her father was generous, so we free her. As an exchange, because he didn't believe in Day of Judgment and reward in Day of Judgment. In this dunya, Allah wants to reward him with freeing his daughter. So I can give you a long list of the importance of generosity. Generosity from your own pocket, by the way. Don't remember the story of someone who went and stole some apples and gave it in the path of Allah. I said, oh, I committed one sin, but I also achieved 10 thawab and 10 rewards. So 1 minus 10 is 9 and all that. Just do the math correctly. Do the 10 that is yours. So if somebody else says you're getting nothing, you end up with the negative. So if, let's say somebody do a haram income, or let's say somebody uh, forcefully, without somebody's permission, take their property and seize their property and right, then you can give all of it for the sake of Allah. Is not yours. Even the money you find from the ground, don't be so happy when you give it in sadaqah. It's not your sadaqah. It's the persons who lost the money, right? Because when you find something, again, if it's in a certain value which is high, then you have to make an announcement, make sure find the owner. But in that situation, if you didn't find the owner, at the end you don't become the owner. Not, what is that? Finders keepers, So it's not that law in Islam. Even after making an announcement, trying to find the owner, if you didn't find the owner, you give this as a charity on the behalf of the true owner. And if one day the true owner says that was mine, what should you do? You have to reimburse the guy, and then you become your sadaqah. So inshallah, come a bit forward, maybe inshallah it would be much more comfortable for brothers at the end. Was salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So it's about generosity. And one thing, let me tell you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Kareem. There's a hadith, famous hadith about beauty. It said, "Inna Allah jamilun wa yuhibbul jamal." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the symbol, He is an absolute beauty, and He loves beauty. And Allah jamil wa yuhibbul jamal. Same rule applies about His kirama. Allah is kareem, is generous, and loves those who are generous as well. Inna Allah rahimun wa yuhibbul, Allah is merciful and loves those who are exercising mercy. It's the same rule. That's the reason in our masajid it's important that the approach of the masjid and the center is generosity. And what I mean by that is, in a business, generosity makes no sense. What is the best business model? Tell me, brothers, alhamdulillah, most of you are in business. What is the best kind of business? A generous, the one who's doing a lot of, giving. I'm not going to name companies, but you know that the company that a lot of people complain when they work at it because it's so stingy and does not give any service, try to minimize all the benefits to their workers, they are the richest company, right? Which one is that? Alhamdulillah, everybody knows. So their approach is not giving, oh, let me give and give and give. Is opposite. What is it? Minimize the cost, maximize the profit. That is an ideal system. In masjid, you cannot be run like a business. A center, Islamic center, cannot be run like a business. And I tell you why. What I mean by business is not that it's punctual. Yes, a masjid and a center, Islamic center, must be, inshallah, very punctual. It should, inshallah, cater the need of the community. These are good things. But what I mean by business is that not every aspect of a center could be like a business, Islamic center. Why? Because in business, do you like damaged good in business? Do you like, the a type of product that is not, very good? Do you like that kind of stuff in the business? Do you? Damaged good, do you like it? But in Islamic center, we open the door for damaged good. It's a place, inshallah, to make them better. The door of Allah is open for those damaged ones to come, for Hur to come, for Zuhair ibn Qayn to come and learn. That is the purpose of Islamic Center. So it's not a business. You don't give the leadership to the hand of those who are not capable. So you make sure the leader is the right type of person. But the attendance, you're not looking for perfect people. Our attendance is going to be people coming who have a lot of baggage maybe with them. So our approach in a masjid is with generosity. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants an Islamic center, a masjid, a house of God to be run in that way. If he's Kareem, a khadim of a house of God has to be what? Kareem. I can excuse him, oh, you cannot come anymore. Allah opened his door. Who am I to close the door of Allah upon someone? Again, there are exceptions. Somebody is coming, causing problems, screaming, damaging the masjid. I'm not talking about those situations. So we should be very, very careful. Because in our house, we can be very, very selective, very personal. But in a house of God, we should be very, very generous because it's not my property. It's not the place that I can make a rule. So be punctual in the masjid. Try to be efficient. Try to be, inshallah, green and all that is good. But when it comes to approach, and we're not looking for perfect people coming to us. We're looking for damaged good. That is the purpose of, inshallah, house of Allah, to guide, to maintain guidance, to correct the wrong. So that was number two. The third one is this third, again, factor for tranquility is the one that I promised to talk about. And inshallah, that would be the last point for from the Quran. And I finish, inshallah, with that. We say in the famous verses in Surah Fajr that Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna. Oh, the soul that you're assured. You're assured, you have itminan, you have that confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. irji'i ila rabbik, return to your Lord, radiyatan mardiya, at the state of that you're fully satisfied, you're pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah is pleased with you. So a mutual relationship. You're pleased with Him and He is pleased with you. فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. Then if you reach that status of nafs mutma'inna, assured and peaceful soul, then you will be one of the rank of my servant. Then you become Abdullah. فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي. So the status of becoming Abdullah and the servant of God is not a simple thing. Is a badge of honor to be called Abd and the servant of God. That's why in our prayers, when we call the Rasulullah, we mention his name. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasulah. The first badge of honor of the Prophet, even before him being the Rasul and messenger, is that he was Abd of Allah. So فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي. When you have that tranquil heart, that peaceful soul, then you will be on the rank of my servant. وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. The minimum you get is that the Jannah, the salvation, the ultimate success, the blessing of God is yours. And so many tradition has been mentioned that this application of this ayah, mistaq, an example of this ayah is Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam, the one that at the moment of irji'i ila rabbik, when returning to his Lord at the moment of departing this dunya, he said, Ilahi ridan birida, tasliman liqada'ik la ma'buda siwa. He said it that, Ya Allah, I'm pleased with you. He is the embodiment of that ayah. Quranun natiq, the talkative, speaking, living Quran, he said it. But how he acquired that peaceful soul, we mentioned the other two for the sakina, and then this is itminan, the tranquil heart, the peaceful heart. We started with the 2 point. The third point, how to acquire nafs mutma'inna, Quran says, Ala bidhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Remembrance of Allah brings tranquility. If somebody remembers God, that is tranquility. And remembrance of Allah, it could be in the form of, verbally saying the name of God, but it's not just the verbal utterment of what you say, the name of God, Ya Allah, Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. That's one, because the enemies of Sayyid al-Shahada were saying Allahu Akbar from the beginning of the day till end. So it's not just pronunciation of the word remembrance of Allah, but rather remembering that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the source of reliance of everything. That you cannot count on anyone truly beside Him. The reason the remembrance of Imam Ali is ibadah is because when you remember him, is equivalent of remembering of Allah. Dhikru aliyan ibadah. When you remember Ali is an act of worship. Is equivalent of that. When you remember Rasulullah with saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammadan wa ali Muhammad is an act of worship. Salawat. Allah. So we have that remembrance of Allah is about having hope in Allah's mercy. That's one concept. And second is having fear from Allah's punishment. That is the true remembrance of Allah. Living the state of going back again. This is basically going back to the first point of balance. Remembrance of Allah means remember both hope and fear. Khawfan wa tama'a. Means at the same time we have hope in His forgiveness, we are fearful of His punishment and His justice. Khawf and raja, that's what we say in the Islamic terminology, fear and hope. Because if the balance is not maintained with these two, it could be very destructive. Somebody who's so hopeful, it become an excuse for them to continue on transgressing and disobeying Allah. Allah is merciful, Allah is Kareem. How many times we heard this statement by, when we are trying to convince ourselves that when I'm doing something haram, Allah is Kareem, Allah is forgiving. We try to cover our flaws in the name of Allah's karama. So, brother, did you plan this trip? Did you take something that you have to take with you? Do you have enough money for this trip? What is the answer you hear from people? Allah Kareem. All of our lack of management, we put on Allah Kareem. You risk your life, you're speeding, you're going 100 mile per hour in a, let's say a very dangerous road, and they say, brother, please slow down. Allah is Kareem. Life is in His hand. So that imbalance of that hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the same time, fear. Those who are too afraid. Brother, come to masjid. No, I'm so embarrassed to come back. I did so many wrong. I'm gone. I cannot come back. Or I cannot do what Allah wants from me. No, I'm weak. Too much fear or too much hope, both could be corrupted. The balance is was the way the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah is supposed to achieve. That's why in our zikr we have astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a form of dhikr. And then we have alhamdulillah, subhanallah, subuhun quddus, rabbul malaikati war, a very positive approach. Glory to my Lord, praise to my Lord. I'm grateful to my Lord, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the balance has to be there. One without another will be incomplete. That's why, going back to the question they asked me before Mimbar, was how we can reduce the usage of social media addiction and all that. This is a point related to that, is that in order to have this balance of hope and fear, we have to avoid one very bad practice in life, and that is comparison. Muqayasa, comparison, is what is one of the most destructive force when it comes to hope. Because you're hoping you're doing better and you're doing better and you're doing better. As soon as you start comparing yourself with someone who's not doing any hard work and they already made it, do you have that hope anymore? I've been working for the last 5 years and I didn't get anywhere. And this guy overnight, over a month, over a year, he made it, he have everything that I wanted. Comparison. So it causes that loss of the remembrance of Allah when we compare. It destroys balance. So it is important. The third solution, the third key to, inshallah, maintaining tranquility is to remember Allah with hope and fear. Hope in His mercy, fear from sin. That's why we cannot promote just the love of God without remembering taqwa. What is the meaning of taqwa? What does the word taqwa means? Self-restraint. Taqwa is self-restraint. Is literally when you stop yourself, when you control yourself, when you face sin, disobedience, act of haram. That's what taqwa is. So somebody have taqwa means they're able easily to say no to haram. So how we can have taqwa when somebody is not even afraid of sin, when somebody is not even afraid of the punishment of sin? How we can have self-restraint? One of the major reasons we have self-restraint when it comes to traffic, and I was talking to one of the youth, he was, mashallah, driving very good. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was driving very good, not speeding and all that. So the father told his son, go faster. That was the first for me. Usually a parents say, slow down. But this father was saying, I'm late, go faster. And then the son said, no, I'm not going to go faster. The father, all due respect. So why? He said, because the police in Seattle are very, very, very difficult. Or very, let's say they are uh, waiting for you to just, make a mistake. And then he mentioned, they actually have some sensors in some stop signs that if you don't stop fully, they're gonna take a picture and send you a ticket. So If that person is not speeding, so he has taqwa, right? In driving, he has taqwa, self restraint. What is the factor to that self restraint? What is the reason he has that self restraint? He's doing it qurbatan ilallah, right? Why? Fear of the ticket, right? The punishment. There are going to be consequences. If I do this, there will be consequences. So I control myself for that reason. When it comes to sin, I know hope in Allah's mercy, it's very important. And I said we should have that. We cannot lose hope. That's a great factor in tranquility. But if somebody do not have self-restraint, what sin provides is regret. That's what the nature of disobedience of Allah is. Anybody who commit a sin, eventually there will be regret. قال رب ارجعون لعلي أعمل صالحا فيما تركت. Quran says. There are people who, when they die, they ask Allah that is it possible for us to have another chance? We didn't do a lot of good things we could have done. We committed sin. Give us another chance. We didn't do prayers. We didn't give charity. We didn't respect our parents. We could have done so many good and we didn't. So la'alli, I wish, I dream if is that even possible for me to get another chance. So if you want, inshallah, tranquility, we need to stay away from haram. Because the more sin we commit, the consequence of the sin is unhappiness. I give you example. Give me a sin that does not have regret. If somebody commit a sin and they do not have regret, they killed what we consider to be conscience. Because conscience is an inherent power, controlling force that Allah is a compass. That Allah put that if in order whenever I do wrong, I'm going to feel guilty. The conscience is there. The soul is living. So look at children. The first lie children say usually what happened to their physical, uh, you know, appearance. The first lie or the second lie they're saying, the children started sweating. If your child lied to you without, even any physical, change, they've been saying a lot, lies for a while. That so is not the first lie. The first lie usually is very uncomfortable. It's like the first interaction with non-mahram. First, haram meat. First drink. Every first is difficult. Every first, haram especially. Because the conscience is there, the iman is there, that sense of guilt is with it. When somebody passed that boundary, eventually after a few times, it becomes normal. You normalize it. So if somebody does not feel guilty after a sin, is because they blocked the conscience, they disabled the conscience, and now they're doing it whatever they want. But usually, if we lie, we feel guilty about the lie. When you are screaming at someone, even could be, somebody that they deserve to be screamed at. If you have a healthy soul, what happens? You feel guilty about screaming. You don't feel right. You don't feel happy. You don't feel peaceful after committing a sin. That's the way Allah created the soul, to be it that way, to feel that way. But with the sin come the consequences. But the biggest factor for self-restraint when it comes to haram is fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fear of his punishment. That's why in dua Jawshana Kabir, 100 times we say what? Dua Jawshana Kabir in night of what? Subhanaka ya la ilaha illa ant al-ghawth khallisna min an-nari. I ask help. I'm asking, I'm begging for help that you free me from the punishment, that I'm concerned, I'm fearful from that. That Imam Zain al-Abidin when he's reciting prayers and come to the adhab and qina adhab bannar, Imam is crying and trembling. Ali ibn Abi Talib out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he faints in the middle of the night. That the companion comes back to Hazrat Fatima and said, Ya Fatima Zahra, Ya bint Rasulullah, Ali alayhi salam passed away. And Hazrat said, no, he's just unconscious. Go wait for a few minutes, he's going to regain consciousness. Out of the fear of Allah, that's normal. And I say, if Ali alayhi salam, Imam Zainul Abidin have that fear from the sin, from punishment, and they are awliya Allah. How can we say we only need hope? We need balance of both of them together. So if somebody is too hopeful, reminder. If somebody is too fearful, remind of hope. If somebody is too hopeful, reminder of the fear. The balance has to be maintained. That's what in Quran, whenever you see it, Allah talks about heaven, there's talk about hell. So that's why I say to people, when you teach your child about hijab, don't say if you don't wear hijab, you go to hell. Where is the heaven in that wearing hijab? Where's the hope in wearing hijab? If when you want to teach your child about praying their morning prayers, don't only say if you don't do your salatul subh, you're going to hell and you will be punished. Where is the reward that being mentioned about it? Balance both. The fear cannot be the only arrow that we have in our quiver, the only tool that we have. Because hope, and as I said, the proper understanding, not phobias, a rational form of fear has to be from the consequence, from the justice and idalat of Allah. Comparison, as I mentioned, is a destructive of this ability. Because when you compare yourself with others, you lose hope. Or when you compare yourself with others, you lose fear. How? I give you examples. When you look at somebody, and as I mentioned, you have hope in getting better for some reason, and you look at somebody who did it overnight, you lose hope of getting better because we compare ourselves with them, right? I'm 30 years old. I want to get married, and I look at compare someone who's been married at the age of 20 and they have 2, 3 kids. That's a bit discouraging for me to even make initiative to move forward with considering marriage. It's not that I give up. The motivation, the courage is not going to be as much when I compare myself with that person. In a case of fear, is that you look at somebody said you lose fear when comparison. You're doing your prayers, you're doing everything, and still you have some issues. You compare yourself with somebody who's not even in their life, not even once they face Qibla. Not even once they face Qibla, and they have everything. So, okay, but I think I'm doing it wrong. What they're doing right that I'm not doing. Maybe they're doing something. So that comparison makes you to lose the restraint that whatever you were controlling yourself, whatever you were staying away from, that comparison is that destructive. Social media, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, made the comparison to the next level. You don't even have to leave your bed if you want to compare yourself. And because when you used to compare yourself with the real life living people, you used to see everything about them, right? You see them today, they're not in a good mood. Today they were tired. Today they didn't come with their expensive suit. They were just wearing something simple. But social media, you don't see any of that. You just see the spotlight, the highlights, right? Today, my beloved, my love brought me this bouquet of flower. 2 days ago, they were almost at the brink of divorce, and now there's a flower. Everybody's liking it. Good for them, inshallah. Allah keep away divorce. And some people, alhamdulillah, social media, I'm the only social media platform I use and used to use, not even using anymore, is Twitter. Others I don't. Even the Twitter, some people when they post, you think they have bipolar. Today they love and tomorrow they hate. Love, hate, all over the place. But what is one thing about it that people do not share their difficult moment. Usually we share the happy moments. That's why when you look at some people's social media, is you think that they're always traveling, right? That's the only thing. And that comparison affects your level of happiness, right? I'm dealing with my work, and this guy is in that island, and that guy is in that travel, and he's, eating that. That's what the hadith is. Watch of your eyes. Watch over your eyes. Because the nature of your eyes is whatever you see, you desire. Usually that's the way. Some people are exceptions. They said, I can look at so many things. It does affect me. Good for you. May Allah give the same strength to us. But human being in general, especially young people, what we see, we desire. You see, you desire. That's the importance that Imam Sadiq said that your sight could be an arrow of shaitan. You look at something and then you're stuck. Now you have to put all your energy to get out of the hole that you dig yourself. With just a look, just what we watch something, observe something. So let me inshallah finish with the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah said, advised to his companion Salman al-Farisi or Salman al-Muhammadi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Salman is the narrator of the hadith. He said, أدعوني خليلي بالسبع خصال لا أدعهن على كل حال. There's some advice from the Messenger of Allah that I will keep with me for the rest of my life. I will not give up on them in any situation, any circumstances. The number one advice of the Rasulullah to Salman that he is inshallah teaching us that lesson said أن أنظر إلى من هو دوني. Number two, ولا أنظر إلى من هو فوقي. Rasulullah said, compare yourself with the people who are less fortunate than you. And do not compare yourself with the people who are more blessed or more fortunate than you. Simple comparison. This is not, because we talk about jealousy, and you say, if you're jealous, you have a small, you have a small soul. If you're not happy with people's happiness, is a very inhuman, very small of you. That's right. But unfortunately, jealousy is there. People, unfortunately, jealousy is one of those diseases that it's very difficult to get rid of. Even siblings could be jealous of each other. Even husband and wife could be jealous of each other. Because other matters, there's some diseases that at least you're not suffering inside the family. In the family, you easily put it aside. Like lust and all that is gone usually, but jealousy. I've seen, and we talk about Habil and Qabil, but even in our time, we have modern Habil and Qabil that siblings hate each other. They cannot even tolerate each other. And why jealousy exists, one of the major reasons is comparison. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Habil and Qabil to make a sacrifice, make an offering, Habil did something very good from his farm. Qabil did something left over and extra. And Allah and Quran said, فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. We accepted one of the offering, which was the Habil. We didn't accept from the other. And he compared, said, why God didn't accept mine? He compares it with Habil. When in reality, you should have said, it was my fault. I took, the leftover and the extra and whatever was the least quality from my offering, my sacrifice. He took the best of them. That's why Allah will accept that. He didn't look and introspect and looking within and try to examine himself. He went and compared himself with Habil, and he killed Habil alayhi salam. So someone who's jealous, there's a hadith. Imam Ali said, "What a just sin jealousy is." Imam said, so the most just and fair razila, despicable quality is jealousy. Why is it despicable quality? Why is just this? What a just despicable quality jealousy is? Imam said, because before hurting other, the jealous person is suffering himself or herself first. They're burning from within. That's why it's fair. Then that fire unfortunately reaches others. At least when you hurt others, you're already burning yourself. And jealousy happens and destroys sakina, destroys serenity because of comparison. Because of comparison. And sometimes we are responsible. we are at fault. One, when we, as I said, we don't control the eyes, we always look around and compare. Second is when parents compare their children. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam kissed one of his children, and this was a young child. And then his old son, which was in his 20s, passed by. Imam told him, come close, and he kissed him as well. And then he looked at his companion and said, do not differentiate between your children. Remember and learn Quran about jealousy of Habil and Qabil. Or the stories of Yusuf when Yaqub alayhi salam showed that because Yusuf was a special, what happened the brothers of Yusuf did to him. So sometimes as parents, we do that. And I said it in a lot of communities, good kids are hated by other kids because of comparison. It's not their fault. There's one kid that, is the one doing the Quran, doing the announcement. The other, not similar good kids. So let's say, alhamdulillah, this community, you have so many reciters and so many. This is not the situation. Let's say there are reciters and there's some people who don't recite anything. And unfortunately, some parents, they always remind them, learn from him. What's wrong with you? He is half of your age. He's half of your age. He doesn't even have a phone. So what kind of feeling that child is going to develop through that good kid? You are the reason of my problems. If something happened to you, I'm going to do a lot of Nazraniyas, right? I'm going to be happy. It's your fault. Comparison. And I said it 100 times, please do not compare your children with others. When you teach them something, tell them that you should be good, not because of that kid is good, for your own sake. For your own sake. The worst kind of parenting is to say you should be good because of A, B, C, because of that person. Good for them. What is going to do to this person? And then the answer the children have is that he is, who he is, and she is who she is. I am who I am. I'm a different person. I have my own thoughts, and then you have to deal with that issue. Rather than teach them, my son, my daughter, this is what is for your own good. For your own sake, you have to do this. Tell them that your praying is not going to benefit me. If you don't pray, it's not going to harm me. It's for your own good. But we do that. Inshallah, we do. Inshallah, we do not compare. And if we do, we are causing that jealousy. We're causing that, we're planting the seed in their hearts. In marriage, is the same problem. My sister's husband, I wish you were like him. One of the reason in-laws, the husband, that there's a word in Urdu for it. What are the two husbands of the two sisters called, the relationship? Hamzulf, mashallah. They call bajanag, or bajanag is baja is then they're in cultures that they know they hate each other. It's just like the in-laws are stereotypical that they don't like each other. So that the hamzulf are they don't like each other. Why is that? Because they're the one that being always compared, right? The sister said my husband, the other sister said my husband. And the worst of all, my mother. My mom's cooked like this. Why you cannot cook like my mom? Comparison, right? A disastrous result. What happened? That person's feel that there's competition, jealousy, and then you have a hard time to maintain that balance. And they say, why is that? Why in-laws cannot get along with each other? Why the bride and the mother-in-law and the father? Why it doesn't work? We do it. Some as jokes, some as serious. And with that jealousy, the tranquility is gone. So Imam, the Salman said, do not compare yourself with the people above you. Less fortunate. There are so many people in the world, I tell you, look at them. Don't be so proud of, I'm American. You were born in this society, good for you. You don't have an accent, good for you, but you didn't accomplish anything with that. Because sometimes we think, I have no accent and my dad has an accent, my mom has an accent, or they make mistakes. It's not a great accomplishment. You were born here. If you were born in China, you would have speak Chinese. That's it. You did not choose it. Talk to me about accomplishment. And even about accomplishment, be humble. But I've seen people talking, people who came from, they're immigrant. Oh, these are uh, fobs, right? Fobs, fresh off the boat, and it's very disrespectful. And I said, what even, how you consider yourself a mu'min if you have that in your mind? What is a quality you have that a fob, according to you, doesn't? That's a lack of, unfortunately, insight of understanding. A mu'min's personality does not get along with these kind of categorization, compartment. You cannot compare the compartments of the mind of a mu'min does not work like that. So inshallah, that's enough for tonight. So a summary of the lecture, inshallah. This is a topic that, by the way, we can talk more on this. There are more factors. There are more. Uh, if you are interested to read on this subject, the tranquility of heart, there is a work by a couple of the scholars. One of them is done by uh, uh, Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli, and I think there's a translation in English about the tuma'nina, or this tranquility of heart. You can read on that. He has a good extensive work on this. You can look it up. And there is also a good number of articles written by uh, Sheikh Muhammad Bagher Imrani on this subject. You can look it up online as well. But in summary, what we had time to discuss about tranquility of heart, help me with what was the number one factor for tranquility of heart? Balance. That we always maintain the balance, that first rejection of kufr and then install of iman. What was number two? Generosity, altruism, giving. It brings tuma'nina. What was number three that we mentioned tonight? Zikr. Zikr, remembrance of Allah, which means remember Allah with hope and with fear. Remember Allah when the time of being, down, remember hope. Don't let fear takes over and be in charge. At the time of being too confident of your amal, at the time of that sometimes taqwa is not there, try to use fear to balance yourself, to maintain that balance and zikr in remembrance of Allah. Do not make a one-dimensional God. God and Allah has all those names. He is forgiving, He is also Adil, and He is Jabbar, and He is Muntaqim. He has all those names together. Although His mercy prevails over His wrath, He does. كتب على نفس الرحمة. His mercy prevailed His anger. But His other qualities are there. He's just, He's fair. And what was the last one we made? Comparison. Stay away from comparison, because that is one of the causing lead of jealousy, and a jealous heart cannot be a sakina heart. A jealous heart cannot deal with, cannot get along with tranquility. May Allah inshallah give us the ability and the tawfiq to uh, work to acquire and achieve a tranquil heart, a peaceful soul, and inshallah assured a nafs mutma'inna, by learning from the uh, teaching and the lifestyle of Abu Abdullah al Hussein and his companions, inshallah. Let's dedicate the final night of this majlis to a young man who has a tranquil heart. Because we mentioned the musibah, a lot of the Ahlul Bayt. We did the musibah of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, Hazrat Ali al Asghar. We did the musibah of Imam al Hussein, Imam Zain al Abidin's Isara, Hazrat Zainab salamullah alayha. But how can we talk about the musibah of Abu Abdullah without talking about one of his major sacrifice in the day of Ashura? You probably heard this from other dhakirin and other reciters as well, that one of the ulama saw Sayyid al-Shuhada in his dream. And he saw that the body of Sayyid al-Shuhada is covered with so many injuries, with so many cuts and bruises. And the next time when he saw Sayyid al-Shahada, he saw that the wounds disappeared. They're healed. Except they said there are two wounds. And then he asked, Yabna Rasulullah, Ya Abu Abdullah, what happened to the wounds and injuries? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of your tears, your azza, your remembrance of my sacrifice, brings heal and tranquility on me, and that's the way you see the healing. But this one that you see on my chest is the musibah of my son Ali al-Akbar. Is a musibah that only people who lost a child know and understand. We have that they ask Rasulullah, what is the highest pleasure for a parent? The most pleasurable and joyous moment for a parent. And Rasulullah said, when your child walks in front of you, when you look at them walking and you see them now from an infant crawling, now they reach the age of maturity and now they're walking. Now they became a man. And in the day of Ashura, that's what Abu Abdullah Hussein asked Ali Akbar to do. Every other Shaheed who came to Imam al Hussein alayhi salam, Imam did not grant permission. Didn't want him to just get a straight yes to go to battle, that their life is important to Abu Abdullah. To make sure that they understand that they are sacrificing their life, and if they're sure about that. So Imam would say, no, you're too young. You don't go first. But after all of the companions of Hussein, they said, until we're alive, no one from Bani Hashim has to go to the battle. We don't let that happen. One by one, Abu Abdullah went to the deathbed. The last moments of their life, Sayyid al-Shahada was with them. And now there's no one left from Ashab. Now is Awlad al-Hussein's turn. As soon as Ali Akbar came, Imam did not hesitate. This is the descendant of Ibrahim, and he wants to send his Ismail. He's not going to hesitate. He said, go, my son. But before you leave, walk in front of me. Sayyid ibn Tawus in his maqtal said, نظر إليه نظر آيس من. He looked at him, but was not a hopeful look. He looked at him as he was walking like somebody who cut off all his hope. With despair, he looked at Ali Akbar. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى Ali al-Akbar, the greatest Ali of the children of Abu Abdullah, wore his armor. Moment before his final farewell, Rasulullah's most lookalike, Abu Abdullah said, Ya Allah, be my witness. I sent the most similar of people to Rasulullah, to this people. أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسوله. Morally, his character, his physical features, his voice and tone. Every time we miss Rasulullah, we used to go and look at Ali al Akbar. Ya Allah, be my witness that I'm sending such a young man to these people. Ali al Akbar hugged Abu Abdullah. Imam embraced Ali Akbar, both cried and cried. We have in Maqatil, tears flowed over the Mahasin and the beard of Abu Abdullah. They sent Ali Akbar, Zainab is with Abu Abdullah, comforting Hussein. Which Zainab? The same Zainab when the children of Zainab were returned, the bodies was returned from the battle. Zainab did not come to Hussein. Zainab didn't want Abu Abdullah to look at the eyes of Zainab. That Zainab, I brought the bodies of your children. But except that moment and incident, every time Zainab was with Abu Abdullah, Ali Akbar went to the battle. He is the grandson of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Enemies are running away from one side to another. After hours, he returned to Abu Abdullah. He said something that is, imagine if you're a father and your child is asking for something and you cannot provide for your child. What kind of feeling you will have? He said, my father Hussein, do you have any water with you? العطش قد قتلني وثقل الحديد قد جهدني. Father Hussein, the thirst is killing me. The weight of this armor is causing difficulty for me. We have an ulama said the reason Ali Akbar came, he knew that Abu Abdullah has nothing. He was looking for an excuse to look at the face of his father one more time. Abu Abdullah placed that we have in some maqatil. He placed the hand of Ali on his cracked lips. He said, my son Ali, Bunayya Ali. Look at your father is more thirsty than you. Be ready, my son Ali. Soon your grandfather will water you. Ali Akbar returned to the battle. They surrounded Ali from every corner. Ali is in the middle of the enemies. He was a strike on his head. The blood start gushing from his head. The blood covers the eyes of the horse. And then the horse is the habit, is trained to go back to the where it came from, go to the camp of Hussein. But the blood of Ali covered the eyes of horse of Ali. Horse took Ali Akbar in the middle, further within the ranks of the enemies. Now Ali is surrounded. Those who have lances are hitting and striking Ali. Those who they have no swords or lances, they're throwing rocks at Ali Akbar. We have that he was struck on his head and he fell from his horse. The bodies of Ali is being attacked from every inch of body of Ali is being struck. We have that he shouted, Ya Abba, Ya Abba Abdullah, alayka min salam. This is the final goodbye of Ali. We have that Abu Abdullah rushed toward where that voice was coming from. There's so much dust, all these enemies surrounding like vultures around Ali al Akbar. We have that as soon as Abu Abdullah reached the body and looked at the body of Ali Akbar, Irba is cut to pieces, the body of Ali. We have that he did not came down from horse. He fell from the horse on his face. He was not able to walk. He started crawling toward Ali al-Akbar. We have that he tried everything. First he placed his cheek on the chest of Ali. He didn't feel better. He placed his hand of Ali on his cheek. He didn't feel better. Then we have that he placed his cheek on the cheek of Ali. يا علي على الدنيا بعدك العفا. My son Ali, stand up. Don't let the enemy see Hussein crying over you. He called to the Bani Hashim youth, come here. Bani Hashim youth, come here. I cannot take the body of Ali by myself. He places Abba because the body of Ali, any part of the body was left, some other part was on the ground. They picked up the body of Ali Akbar, put it on the Abba, got the corners of the Abba, brought the body of Ali Akbar back to the camp of Hussein. The first one, as always, greeted Hussein was Ali Akbar. The first one greeted Abu Abdullah to the camp of Hussein with Ali Akbar was Zainab al Kubra. Said, yeah, my beloved brother Hussein, don't worry, he is with his he's with his grandfather Rasulullah. He's with his grandfather Rasulullah. Don't worry. Yeah, Zainab, you were comforting Hussein at that moment. You were with Hussein at his final moment as well, when he was under the dagger of Shimr, and you were looking at Hussein. والشمر جالس على صدره يا بقية الله. Shimr was just sitting on the chest of Hussein, and Zainab is watching this moment. The last word of Hussein was ارجعي يا أختا, return my sister Zainab. You shouldn't be watching this. وألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة. Ya Allah, by the honor of Ali Akbar, protect our youth from the misguidance of Akhir al-Zaman. By the honor of Ali Akbar, of Abu Abdullah and Hussein, give the strength and ability of our youth to maintain their iman and their love to the Imam of our time. By the honor of Ali Akbar alayhi salam, honor all of our married couples who don't have children, inshallah, with righteous and salih children. By the honor of Ali Akbar alayhi salam, grant us the shafa'ah and intercession of Shuhadai Karbala, especially Ali Akbar alayhi salam. By the honor of Ali Akbar, bring an end to the oppression and dhulm in Yemen, in Kashmir, and in every other corner of the world, that there is a madloom whose voice is before you, and you know who are the true madloomin. Ya Allah, grant them with an end of oppression and tyranny for them. By the honor of Ali Akbar, give us the strength to be resisting the oppression and tyrant and dhulm in every form. Ya Allah, give us the tawfiq to continue the majalis of Abu Abdullah al Hussein, the majalis of Muharram and Safar, and inshallah make them to be a saving, a resource for our dunya and akhirah. Let's inshallah stand up and finish the final night of our majalis with the azah of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam with the name of Abu Abdullah. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.